Yo, what's up, guys? We're going to talk about the new update thingy where you can select a specific rune that you want to get from a dungeon at all times. I haven't seen exactly yet how it works. The place where you can buy them is within this event somewhere here at the bottom. At this gingerbread guy, I bought one of the giants ones already. But I do want to explain a little bit about the thought process of why I'm getting which ones from which dungeon. And I want to also give you like the tips for like each of every dungeon, which is the fastest run. Because of course, at this moment, you want to run it as fast as possible. If you've been watching my channel for a little bit longer, you know I pretty much have a dungeon team for every dungeon out there, the fastest team out there. The best thing you can do is go to the guides, like the guides video archive within my Discord, which is going to be the first link in this video. And within there, I made like a list of all of the videos that I made for dungeon guides and a bunch of other things as well. The ones that are marked with like in between brackets F are the fastest one at that moment. So that is the one you will be looking for. So also for the guys that are here on the Twitch channel, say hi to your future self. So I'm not entirely sure how this thing will work the moment I select it. I did have one over here, but before I show what I will choose, I want to show you a few other things. And that is this. So this is Swar Farm. Swar Farm you can actually use to look up dungeons and their dungeon times, or not necessarily the times, but their rates and that kind of stuff. From that, I'm going to show the following thing. So this is Giant Speed 12. If we scroll down to Giant Speed 12, we can see that Giant Speed 12 actually has 5 rune sets, of which 5 of them are a 20% chance of getting them, but only one is 16.6. That is Despair. Keep that in mind for when you're selecting your Giants thing. You could say like, okay, I just go for Swift, but technically Swift is one of the higher drop rates from this dungeon than Despair. So technically, I would personally say Despair is more interesting. Plus, there's a lot of Despair units out there if you like to RTA. Because of the Juno, the Hey Gang, the Moor, you name it, there's a lot of Despair units right there. And they all kind of need like a faster set than your whole team. So going for Despair is actually pretty legit, I would say. Then I also want to go to the next thing, which of course is then going to Dragons. But in this case, I'm not actually going to go to Dragons. I'm going to go to Necro first. Because Dragons is slightly different. So if we go to Necro, you might think what is the most dropped over there? Is it, or the least dropped over there, would that be Will? No, Will is actually one of those 20%ers as well. Rage in this case is the 16.6%. Would I recommend you to go for Rage? Depends on how far you're in the game. That is my answer on that one. Because if you need the Rage runes to get your Balayo team working, then yes, definitely go for Rage. If you need Rage teams to make your other dungeon teams faster, yes, go for Rage. If you're kind of set on your dungeon teams and you don't need them to go faster, you go Will. So it's kind of depending like how far you're in the game, for my opinion of saying like, okay, which one of the two should you focus on? Sure, if you really want to, like by all means go Vampire, destroy your Nemesis. I just don't recommend it, but in the end, hey, your game, your account, you can do whatever you like. Then the next one, which is also a question that I just had in chat. Why are you farming dragons right now? Why are you not farming why are you farming giants and not dragons? So I'm currently farming giants for quite a little bit already. Main question was, why not dragons? And the thing with dragons is the only dungeon that doesn't have 5 runes, it has 6. So all of the rune drop rates become not 20%, but 17.5. But on top of that, Vaio is the least dropped from all of those. So it's not even the 16.6%, it becomes a 13.8, which is very low. So the odds of getting a Swift rune is about like 1.3 times as much as getting a Vaio rune. Maybe I'm kind of wrong in the calculations, but it goes from, let's say, 14 till 21, which is a pretty bad gap. I think that's even like 1.5. Is it? It is. That's a lot. So for that reason, farming giants actually has more value than farming dragons if you're solely caring about the Swift comparing to the Vaio. I have been farming too much dragons already, so getting upgrades in Vaio is technically easier than Swift. Also keep that in mind, because Swift, if it's not speed, it's kind of shit. Vaio, if it rolls triple or quad into HP, probably some weird unit can still use it. Diana, like whatever you can call it. So keep those things in mind when you're deciding like what you want to farm. Going back to the question, which am I deciding for these events? I will go for Despair on Giants, Vio on Dragons, and Will on Necro. Let's actually see how this thing works, because I still have not really much of a clue how this thing works if you select it. So I select it. I go, as mentioned, for Despair. I select that. Yes, would you like to go to Kairos Dungeon right now? Maybe I would. We also get a primer here in the chat on a very good timing. So let's see what happens. Do we still get mana? Do we still get other shit? But the moment it is a rune, it is always Despair right now. I'm not entirely sure how that works. You still get mana? Okay, so technically you just remove everything, all of the other runes. You only get Despair runes right now. So it's not the end all super OP anything. That's probably also the reason why you get like 4 times 1 hour rather than just 1 time 1 hour or something. But it makes it somewhat interesting. Crafting also does get it quite some, yeah. So in this case, we're gonna get a bunch of Despair runes. We're probably gonna sell most of them, but that is what it is. We also got another primer. Wait, previous primer was from Hogger. Current primer is from a UDES GM. Appreciate it, boys. And we got freaking with also a primer. We're going 3 primers in a row. Appreciate it, boys. Appreciate it. So yeah, that's pretty much what it is to it. Talking like briefly over what dungeon teams are the fastest, I would still recommend to go to the specific videos of that dungeon. But I can talk about it a little bit here. So the fastest team for this, if you don't have a Sarath, is this team. With Sarath, you replace Sarath for the Lucian, and it will be faster. We're gonna get another tier 1. Really appreciate it, boys. We get a tier 1 from Evergenic. Really appreciate it. But yeah, Sarath is better than Lucian, but besides that, this is the best unless you have a Lucifer. Lucifer is the best replacement for Balayo. Technically, you can do a better version with removing one of the Icarus and putting them as a Jara. We got Chroma with a tier 1 as well. Man, we're flying on the tier 1s and the things right now. That's sick. Appreciate it. Really appreciate it, guys. So, asking for what is the best replacement for Balayo. People say Naomi is a good replacement. However, I never tried. So I can't guarantee you that Naomi is very good. We also got a 100 bidder from Olram. Really appreciate it. I would say, I also made a video about it. It's also in the video archive guide, which I really recommend you to try to look at. Because I also have a video about what are the replacements for Balayo. The best replacement for Balayo actually comes from a pretty strange corner. But is, I would say, by far best replacement for Balayo that is non-LD. Well, it is technically LD, but it's a lot more reasonable to get LD. Which is Wei Xin. Wei Xin has a very good skill of doing some like extra crit rate. It's nothing crazy. But it ignored defense on the turn 1. Why would you not go for any of the other ones? It's because Wei Xin has better on the attack in the base. This one could, but you don't really need the recovery kind of crap. So I would say Wei Xin is the best replacement, but Juan could also be a replacement. Mephisto can be a replacement, but it's not as good. So, for that reason, I would say go check out the Wei Xin. Otherwise, maybe try Juan. That could be an option. But the main thing about this team, which I also explained in the past before, the biggest factors of having this team on high win rate is Lucian moving twice before the golems in wave 1 and wave 3. And also the Icarus moving 5 times. So I have like the 2 Icarus moving twice before this one. So you have less chance of getting the skill up for this thing. And you have like specific speeds for that. By all means, I don't know them by heart. Not at all. Check those videos out for the specific videos of that dungeon. Going quickly over the Dragon's team. Dragon's team, fastest thing you can do is double a star Icaru with 3 Icarus. Either how, if you don't have that, I would still say Vert 1 a star Icaru. If you can't do that, it's Vert Icaru. It's simple as that. Necro, probably best thing you can do, which is very feasible to make and not like insanely difficult, is the Lucian a star triple Icaru with the Lucian that is on the suicide build, and your Star being on the vampire. So Wrath always uses S3 when he's above 60% HP, if I'm not mistaken. Either 50 or 60%. So yeah, that's pretty much that for all of those dungeons, what I recommend to use. And so far, we've been getting a good amount of runes. I like this. So some people said you're actually still able to get mana, but I didn't get a single mana. Maybe it's just my luck. I don't know. My Suicide Lucian doesn't die. Make it less HP and more damage. Because the Suicide Lucian in the MB12 team is very important, because Lucian should not be there in the final boss wave. Because there shouldn't be team-ups with that boss, pretty much. Or there shouldn't be team-ups with the Lucian on the boss. Ikaru skins are faster, yes. You can get mana, crafting materials, and scrolls too. Okay, apparently I haven't had those yet, but I will get them here. Mana! So yeah, that's pretty much that for this dungeon. I feel like this event is pretty cool. It gives you the option to farm for specific things, and I think they should do that more often. I like it. Is it super OP? Not really. I think it's mainly OP for the Vio one.